Finally, let's talk about Megumi's domain, the only non-lethal and barrierless domain we've seen in the entire series. And for the record, we've never seen it fully completed or perfected. Chimera Shadow Garden creates an environment where Megumi's shadows flood the entire space. This boosts the performance of his technique by 120%, allowing him to summon all of his Shikigami simultaneously, along with gaining access to a range of additional abilities. Because his domain doesn't use a barrier, Megumi always activates it in confined spaces that simulate one, maximizing the domain's effectiveness within those limits. Now that we've laid out all the known types of domains, it's time to ask a crucial question. What can a sorcerer without a domain expansion do when facing someone who has one? The harsh truth? They don't stand a chance.
Unless, of course, they've mastered one of the following counter techniques.
Now we're stepping into the realm of defense. Simple Domain is a technique designed specifically as a countermeasure against lethal domain expansions. This ritual originated from the new Shadow Style school, and at first, only those affiliated with the school were allowed to learn it, thanks to a binding vow that strictly prohibited teaching it to outsiders. However, as we see later in the story, this changes. Both Itadori and Ino are eventually shown using the technique.
We won't count Gojo, since he learned it on his own.
So, how does it work? In short, it creates a small, short-range domain around the user. This mini-domain has one primary function. It nullifies the guaranteed hit effect of traditional domain expansions. And while it gets the job done, it's far from indestructible. If faced with a highly refined domain expansion, a simple domain will eventually collapse. That's why it's meant to be used in tight situations, either as a last resort or simply to buy a bit of time. Falling Blossom Emotion is a secret technique, reserved exclusively for the three great clans, Zenin, Gojo, and Kamo. At first glance, it might look similar to a simple domain, but there's one key difference. Instead of creating an external barrier, this ritual envelops the user, and sometimes their weapon, in cursed energy. That energy reacts automatically, counterattacking at the exact moment a guaranteed hit technique tries to land, neutralizing or at least reducing its impact. The technique first appears in chapter 108 of the manga, corresponding to episode 38 of the anime, when Nobito Zenin uses it to repel Dagon's Shikigami inside his domain. Later on, we also see it used offensively by Ogi Zenin, who coats his sword in this cursed energy to attack Maki. Even in the final arc of the series, Gojo relies on this technique to withstand the effects of Sukuna's malevolent shrine. Now, there's been some debate among fans about whether the technique requires the user to remain completely still to keep it active. But truth be told, we still know very little about its exact mechanics, so for now, there's no definitive answer.